The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
A very good afternoon to all of you and welcome to our webinar of today about what you see on your screens. So this is a webinar about great minds and one day, and there is an interesting mention of 3 minutes squeezed in. What exactly are we talking about? Who are these great minds? How are these minds great? And what are they expected to do on one fine day within 3 minutes? But before I say anything further, I would only like to make sure that I am audible to all of you who have taken the time out to be a part of the webinar today. You will see a little symbol of a palm on your screens. That's symbolic of raising your hand. If I'm audible to you, could you please raise your hands? Yes, Mudit was the first one, but Mudit has lowered his hands as well. Suraj, Manan Kumar, I see many hands raised up indeed. I hope others are actually able to hear me. In case they are not, you can always type it in the questions or the chat window. Now, when we talk about great minds, I will not really agree to give my one long hour to great minds if I'm not going to get any possibility of interacting with them. Yeah, what I'm trying to get at is that this is going to be an interactive webinar. And so you will also have the possibility of talking, asking questions, just the way I have this wonderful possibility of presenting the concept to you. Now, to test if that aspect of the webinar, the technical aspect, is working well or not, may I please request you to lower your raised hands? Yes, Anudeep, could you please lower your hands? And as you might have heard when the webinar began, that all attendees are in listen-only mode. So now what I try to do is I will try to unmute some of you selectively so that we can test if you are also audible the way I am audible to you. So any volunteers there? Please raise your hands in case anybody would like to volunteer with their microphones. Mudit Ketan, your hand is raised. I suppose you're willing to volunteer, and I have unmuted you, Mudit. Could you please say
Yes,
something?
thank you. Yes, thank you. I can hear you loud and clear.
Wonderful, and we can hear you loud and clear as well. So it seems that on that aspect we are taken care of. The technical aspects are all under control. Thank you very much, Mudit, for volunteering. I'm muting you again to unmute you in case you have a question at the end of the presentation. Thank you so much. Right, so with the technical matters sorted, we will start with the presentation wherein I can share with you what this Great Minds 3 Minutes and One Day is all about. And for that, I would like to move to the next slide that I have in my presentation that shows a date, that shows a rather vague appearing date, the 9th of November 1989. Can anyone tell me, does anybody know what this date is all about? What is the significance of this date? You can quickly raise your hands if you know what this date is all about. Sarthak Kathuria, you've raised your hand. I think you know the answer. I have unmuted you. May we have the answer, please, Sarthak?
No, I raised by mistake.
Okay,
But
all right, no issues. Just lower the hand again. Anyone who's raising the hand not by mistake, but because they happen to know what in the world happened on this date, 9th of November 1989, Swati Sharma, could that be you? Swati Sharma? Well, I think I started with a very tough question. I apologize. I think even Swati is either not able to connect or does not have the answer. But yeah, one big wall fell on this day. Or rather, people ensured that that wall doesn't stand proud and strong as it stood for many years, separating or dividing one country into two, the eastern and the western part. And that wall, as many of you have guessed, and I can already see some answers popping in my chat window, it was the fall of the Berlin Wall. Yes, Mudit, you are absolutely right. It was the fall of the Berlin Wall. You know that after the aftermath of the Second World War, Germany got divided into four. It eventually became two distinct parts, the East Germany and the West Germany, and the wall was like a thorn in people's side, something that bothered them no end. A lot of things got hampered because of the wall, whether it was research, whether it was innovation, whether it was simply well-being of people, so on and so forth. And many people put in a lot of effort in ensuring that the wall does not stand. And all their efforts and attempts were successful on this great day of the 9th of November when the wall fell and Germany became one, the Germany that we know today. So this was the story of the falling walls, and that is from where the falling walls conference, the falling walls lab, gets its inspiration from. So what is this falling walls lab or falling walls foundation that I'm referring to? So it's a unique international platform for scientists, artists, entrepreneurs, thinkers, which aims at bringing these people together for intellectual exchange of thoughts, of ideas, to ensure that there are no more walls. Are we talking about the walls built in cement and concrete? Not quite. Those are not the only walls that exist in this universe. There are many other walls that need falling or felling as well. And all these brilliant people, established scientists, established artists, entrepreneurs, social activists, come together to deliberate upon the question, which walls will fall next? When they talk about walls, now these walls can be the walls of poverty, the walls of illiteracy, the walls of ensuring that, or the walls of ill health, the walls of political and social problems that people have, as well as the walls, various walls that exist in the field of nanotechnology, biotechnology, even information technology. At times, these walls are also about business and business models. There are always certain business models that one grows so comfortable with that it forms a wall in spite of its success, and one doesn't think of an alternate that can be more interesting, more fruitful, more profit bringing, or beneficial. So this is the theme of every Falling Walls conference: which walls will fall next? In this conference, this is a conference that takes place exactly on the 9th. So Nobel laureates, the VIPs, the who's who of the science, of business, so on and so forth, come together in Berlin. You can see the photos on your screens. These were the Falling Wall speakers and the audiences in 2017. And they discuss about these themes. These presentations have an interesting format. One typically knows of professors, academicians, scientists talking at great lengths or writing big fat books. But one thing that makes this Falling Walls Lab very interesting, even to the audience, as well as to people who don't come from the field that is being talked about by the speaker, is the fact that every speaker has a limited time. Every speaker is allowed to speak only for 20 minutes, presenting the crux of their ideas, of their research, of their business plan, and so forth. This 20 minutes, we are talking about established people. And then, because not just the established people or the grown-ups or people who have already achieved and are already VIPs have all the fun, the format of the Falling Walls Lab was invented because a lot of new things, a lot of action happens at the young level as well. And so what we have is the so-called Falling Walls Lab, which is like a junior version of the Falling Walls Conference, which is open for young scientists, artists, entrepreneurs, where they get the opportunity to present their idea or research to an eminent jury and to the general audience. Here, the time limit is 3 minutes, however. Now, the question might be, can this really happen in 3 minutes? Yes, it does happen, and how it happens in 3 minutes, we will get to that in a short while. But then, what does the winner get? The person who wins the Falling Walls Lab. Now, firstly, what we are talking about is the Falling Walls Lab in India. So many countries, a number of these Falling Walls labs take place in different countries, and every lab chooses one winner, the top winner, the top performer, and that winner gets to go to the grand finale, the global finale of the Falling Walls Lab, which takes place again in Berlin on the 8th of November, so just a day before the Falling Walls conference. So the winner of the India lab will get to compete in the global lab on the 8th of November and also get to participate in the prestigious Falling Walls conference. Now here the hitch, as we said, is the 3 minutes. How that works out we can see later. But then what I just mentioned is something that only the winner gets. But then there are many other participants as well. And what brings them, what makes them apply for this particular lab? What you see on your screen are the winners of of last year's Falling Walls Lab that took place at the IIT Madras. And what we would like to do now is to present to you a very short video of why these people think that they participated in the Falling Walls Lab and how the experience was for them. Very briefly.
Hi, my name is Sachin Dubey and I'm the co-founder of Module Innovations Pune. Falling Walls Lab experience for 2017 has been extremely good with me. But let me take you back to the experience applying. The application form was a very interesting application form that made us highlight the breakthroughs that the innovation that we are doing. The selection out of so many applicants was extremely tedious, and all the applicants that I met into the finals that was held at IIT Madras were phenomenal. Falling Wall Labs to me was also a great place to network. I found equally like-minded people and innovators here. Falling Wall Labs has been a symbol of excellence in research and engineering and development. So as a experience, if I share, the experience was wonderful, and I would encourage all those people who are into science, have some breakthrough ideas, should definitely apply to this.
Hey, I'm Murgesh. I run a component manufacturing plant in Chennai. Right now, I'm at the Falling Walls Lab contest. What I really liked about the contest is the selection procedure, which included academicians, industrialists, and whoever the expert on that area. The next thing is, whatever you have to say it in 3 minutes, and you have to be straight to the point. And the participants, I also like what others presented. The last thing that I want to mention is, innovation is invention plus business idea, but more importantly, you also need people. And if you have both innovative idea, then you have to attend the Falling Walls Lab contest. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Vikash.
Yes, the presentations can continue and you can watch some more. However, I have stopped because I got a couple of messages saying that it was not very audible. That does happen. That depends greatly on the bandwidth that our participants have. But then I think with the presentations of these two young participants in the Falling Walls, you got the hang of what it was like for them and what motivated them into applying and how their experience was. It's important for you to know what kind of backgrounds they come from. So Sachin, as you saw, was someone who who is an entrepreneur, yes, and then he did not mention that, but then he comes from the field of medicine. Murugesh, the other person, he is an entrepreneur again, component manufacturing and component adjustment, and then he has this very interesting concept of end of life vehicle recycling and so on and so forth. And the winner of previous year's Falling Walls Lab, she was someone doing a PhD, and her theme was purification of water. So as it can very distinctly tell you, what we are looking for as participants in the Falling Walls contest are not entrepreneurs alone, are not scientists alone, but then a mix of them all. And as many people, we had some very interesting applications also from the humanities. They even presented. So we had about 14 people presenting or competing in the Falling Walls lab with awesome ideas, and we had a real tough time selecting these 3 out of the few that we had. To get the 14 also, we had a huge number of applications, and selecting the 14 was also not exactly an easy task given the kind of wonderful applications that we received. And that is what we are here to request you for. Send us your wonderful ideas, send us your interesting ideas, and then we would be very happy to see how far these ideas take you. Moving on to the history of falling walls in India, the German House for Research or Innovation, together with the DAAD, that in all probability all of you know of, the German Academic Exchange Service, started doing falling walls labs in India in the year 2016. The first year we partnered with the ISER Pune, and it was a wonderful lab again. Last year we partnered with the IIT Madras, again a very nice lab, and this year we are very happy to have found an able partner in the Jadavpur University in Kolkata. So this is where the lab will take place. What you see here are all the organizations or members involved in organizing these Falling Walls labs. So the funding for the Falling Walls initiative comes from the German Foreign Office through the DWIH and the DAAD, and then we have the Jadavpur University as our partners, and this happens under the flag of the Falling Walls Lab in Berlin. So that is as far as the basics of the competition go. Again, kind of trying to summarize the points that our contestants from the previous year talked to you about in the video. Yes, what Falling Walls does. Right now, whatever research you're carrying out or whatever entrepreneurial projects you are running, of course, you have to reach out to people, but then very often that reach remains somewhat limited. So here, the DWIH and the DAAD endeavor, in with support of the academic partners, to help you reach out to a larger public, to make your ideas better known to people in general. These are not just the general public, but then also angel funds, funding organizations, and so on and so forth. You also get to exercise your science communication skills. Now, what is that and why is it important? The game of science, or the game of entrepreneurship, as many games today, has changed quite a bit. You do not get to do your research by default. You have to earn the possibility of being able to do your research, which means you have to sell your ideas to people. You have to convince people that what you're doing is really good. And for all that, what you really need are communication skills. Even if you want to work as a scientist, you still need to publish communication, you still need to publish your papers, but that's not it. You also need to convince different CSRs and different private sector bodies that your research is good. It's good for people, or it's good for the subject area that you're talking about, and therefore deserves funding. So one can also look upon this Falling Walls Lab as an opportunity to exercise your science communication skills. And as Murugesh so nicely put it, innovation, yes, and besides innovation, what you also need is networking or people. And here you get this wonderful chance to network with the likes of you. The chosen few get to come to Kolkata and interact, be together in the group for one whole day, if not more. and then network with the scientists, academicians, etc., as I had already mentioned. So this is what is there in it for you, for each and every one who participates in this competition, how the procedures work, who can apply, who's eligible, what the technical criteria are. We are coming to that very shortly. So as I've said enough number of times, who can apply, you have to be outstanding, you have to be an innovator, you have to be someone with a promise, someone who has tremendous potential, whether it is in your science or in your business. And as far as subjects go or disciplines go, all are welcome. A to Z, as they say, anthropology to zoology, every subject field is welcome in this competition that is called the Falling Walls Lab. Going further, the technical aspects, in case you are a bachelor's degree holder, which means you do not have any other degree but only a bachelor's degree, then that degree should not be older than 10 years at the time of application. If you have a master's degree, then that degree should not be older than 7 years. If you have a PhD, it should not be older than 5 years. In case you're a registered student, whether it is at the bachelor's, master's, or the PhD level, or a postdoctoral student, then you're always eligible and you can certainly apply for the Falling Walls Lab, India. What is the application procedure like? Now, we know from experience that very often ideas don't just come to one individual. At times, ideas come to a group, ideas are processed by a group or a team, and it's quite possible that the lovely idea or the lovely entrepreneurial venture that you're running or the social entrepreneurship project that you have, it was conceived by you together with a friend or together with your teacher or so on and so forth. In case of Falling Walls Lab, however, the limitation is that only one person has to present, which means in case it's a group effort, then decide which of you is a very good communicator in addition to being a very good scientist or businessman, and select that person to present your idea to the wider public. Further, coming to the absolute nitty-gritty of application, the application procedure is completely online. What it means is that you have to go to this website that you see here, falling-walls.com/lab/apply. There you will find India, and that is where you have to apply. It's a fairly simple application form where you have to key in your personal details, give an overview of your project that you're going to present, also talk about your motivation. So why are you interested in applying for the Falling Walls Lab, and then attach a proper CV of yours. So with that, your first part of application gets taken care of. The second part, and I will have to repeat this, I think, because the second part is just as important as the first part, which is the video. Now, since we mentioned science communication, you have to know that communicating is extremely important when it comes to the Falling Walls Lab. And so we would, before we select you to come to the Falling Walls Lab at Falling Walls Lab India and present at the Jadavpur University in Kolkata, we would like to see how you talk, or how good a communicator you are. Now, when we say that, you do not have to be like a film actor. No, you just have to be able to very convincingly communicate your idea to us. A very brief video, not longer than 3 minutes. You're welcome to use a PowerPoint presentation also in the background if you think that will help you. But then you're just as welcome not to use any presentation at all and then just send us a video. How should you be making this video? Do we expect you to go to a fancy studio and pay a few $1,000 and then send us the video? Not at all. Innovation is innovation, and even frugality is an important concern. So I would assume that a majority of you would have your smartphones that have camera possibilities with you, or at least with friends or family. So just prepare your script and then stand in front of your simple small mobile phone and take a video of yourself, or ask a friend or a family to take a video. So it has to be as simple as that. Once you do that, There is this nice website by the name VShare. If you take a look at our announcement, at the announcement of the Falling Walls Lab India, you will find the exact link as well. So using that link, you will have to send us the video. As you know, video files are rather large, so they cannot typically get sent or even received by simple mail clients. So the way WeTransfer functions is that you upload your file, WeTransfer creates a link for you. The link is valid for a week or so, and then you have to send the link to us as soon as it is ready, so we have the possibility of downloading your video from the link till it is available there. Having said that, let us take a quick look at the poster or the notice or the circular of Falling Walls Lab. The the picture is pretty familiar. You're pretty familiar with the picture. And as this very easily says, this way we will also take a look at the application timeline. So you can apply online. The applications are already open. I have already discussed about the vtransfer.com with you. And in case of any questions, please feel free to drop a line to this email ID that you see here of a colleague, Ramneet Mehta, who will be responsible for answering all the questions that you have regarding your participation in the lab. The application deadline is the 7th of February, so very little time is left. Having said that, we are not telling you to prepare your final presentation or the final video in this much of time. This deadline is basically for the videos and the online application alone. After that, if you're selected on the basis of these, then you will get a mail wherein we will share with you the format of presentation that you have to prepare, and that happens at a much later stage. So till then, just rush your applications to this particular email address together with a video, and please note that without the video we will not be in a position to consider your applications at all. So video is as important as the application, as the online application. Now, after you've submitted the application, we will get back to you. We will give you the format. You will be expected to prepare your presentation. Then you will be expected to practice the way you're going to present it. You are welcome. You are allowed to bring little props also with you. If you've created some little unit that you would like to show to the audience of the Falling Walls Lab, you're welcome to get that with you. So there are no limitations at all. The lab that takes place on the 7th of April will take place in Kolkata at the Jadavpur University, and so the German House for Research and Innovation and the DAAD, they will fund the travel to and from your place to Kolkata, to Jadavpur University, and 2 nights stay in Kolkata near Jadavpur University to facilitate your participation in the Falling Walls Lab India. So that is not a problem at all. And this, we will invite only the shortlisted candidates. So not everybody who applies, but only those who will be shortlisted will be invited to Kolkata to participate in the Falling Walls Lab India. Once you're there, what happens is that you present your research in exactly 3 minutes. And mind you, the 3 minutes are not exactly 3 minutes either. The 3 minutes are actually 2.5 minutes of presentation and half a minute of questions and answers. Members of the jury as well as members from the audience can ask you questions which you are supposed to answer. In case they do not ask you any questions, then in case you do not get any questions, then it's entirely up to you what you do with the 30 seconds. But in principle, you're welcome to ask. You have to answer the questions that the audience is welcome to ask. Now, how that exactly happens? How does this very difficult sounding thing that is called answering questions as well as giving presentation happens? We will take a look not at the questions, but only at the first part. So how effective can the presentations made in 2.5 minutes be? We will take a quick look at that now. What you see on your screen now are the winners of the international lab that took place in Berlin last year. So you have Agnes Raina, you have Ashwin Charles, and you have Sri Lahari Namani. And I will play one of these videos. The fourth gentleman that you see got an audience prize. So what happens is even the audience is welcome to select or to vote for their favorite candidate at the Falling Walls Labs grand finale. And then Montaser got that particular honor. And I would like to play the presentation of Sri Lahari Namani, a very nice presentation, so that you get an idea of how effectively you can present your research ideas. I'm so sorry, I'll have to look for another browser. This thing was working a while ago, and now it has for some reason stopped working. Not very unfamiliar with this technical issue that crops up once in a while. And there is an error here as well. I'm so sorry, but then you have seen the link on the screen, and you're welcome to visit the link and check see how the 2.5 minute thing is done. All these people, they used very simple language that anybody can follow, that anyone who's conversant with the English language can follow. And what we had was a treat of presentations in fields as diverse as cancer, mosquitoes, and purification of water. So you can see that there is really no end to the different themes that one can have when one is presenting one's idea in the Falling Walls lab. What really matters is the kind of, or the quality of the science, the quality of the business plan, the quality of the social issue that you have and the solution that you found for that, and how well you present it. So it's a mix of all. The word scientist that you see on the screen is a very literal translation of the German words Wissenschaftler, and scientist or Wissenschaftler in German does not mean what it means in English. So it's not scientist who does science, such as physics, chemistry, biology, or biotechnology, but a scientist is someone who studies and practices a branch of knowledge, which can be sociology, political sciences, anthropology, and of course, biology, physics, chemistry, biotechnology, and so on. So with that, I reach the end of the information that I had to share with you. And now it's your turn to ask questions in case you have any. We had already tested the audios working, so we will continue on the same lines. So in case you have any questions, kindly raise your hands. I can see the raise hands, and then I can unmute you to be able to take questions. So over to you. Mudit Ketan, I have unmuted you. May we have your question?
अपने यहाँ अभी बीच में एक कंपनी आई थी जो कि आईटी रिक्रूटर का पोस्ट दे रही थी, टेक्निकल रिक्रूटर का था, याद है? और वैसे ही अभी शायद कोलैबोरा या और कोई कंपनी आने वाला है, तो उस टाइप की कंपनियों के लिए ट्राई क्यों नहीं कर रहे हो?
Mudit Khetan, you're on air and we can hear you. You've raised your hand. Do you have a question?
क्या दिक्कत है? मेरे को तो नहीं समझ में आया. उसका कभी सॉल्यूशन ढूंढा उसका?
No, Mudit Khetan doesn't look like he's with us. Any other questions any of the participants have? You simply have to raise your hands or type your questions in the questions window. Yeah, I get the first question from Geeta Prakash. Is there a registration fee for video submission? No, there is no registration fee whatsoever. In fact, right from application to in case you get invited, in case you get shortlisted for your presentation at the Jadavpur University in Kolkata, and further, if you get selected for your presentation in Berlin, you do not have to pay for anything. So, Geeta Prakash, I hope that took care of I could answer your question. Kumari Bhavya, please. All right, Geeta, good to know that. Kumari Bhavya, kindly give your question or raise your hand so that we can unmute you. Will there be Maheshwari Dharmadikari? Will there be screening in Berlin as well? Well, no, there will be. I do not know what exactly you mean by screening. The winners of all the international labs contest in Berlin. And then, of course, there will be jury and there will be a selection if that was what you meant by screening. And then that is how you will get the winner of the falling walls. So if you could see the PPT, then we had shown when I was trying to show you the when I was trying to show you the selected entries or the videos that I was trying to show you that had a picture of 3 people. I've got it on the screen again. And the one in the middle, the lady in the middle, Agnes, she was the winner of the Falling Walls Lab Berlin. And Shri Lahari Namani was number 3 and Ashwin Charles was number 2. So that will happen. And what happens is, again, who are the audiences in Berlin? So in Berlin, what happens is you get to present your idea to a larger audience, of course, and that audience is the who's who in the German research field, the who's who in the sense of angels funds, and so on and so forth. So that those are the kind of people that you'll be showing this to. In addition to that, there's also typically some program organized for the young entrepreneurs and researchers that allows them networking. Will there be screening in Berlin? Yes, we took care of that question. Is there a limitation on the number of entries from a particular college, Geeta Prakash? No, there is no limitation whatsoever. The application procedure is direct, so we expect the researchers or the entrepreneurs themselves to apply, and there is no pre-screening or anything of that kind, or nothing like you have to apply through proper channel or so on and so forth. That does not happen. The next question we have is, what if my idea is still a concept? That is, I'm still working on a model and I have not made a physical model yet. Could I still appear and present my idea? Anand Natarajan, you can certainly do that. You are welcome to apply. See, it is an idea, and then you have to understand that the selection is going to be competitive. So feel free to apply. Now, if we get more applications that have something more concrete in place, then I cannot guarantee that you'll get selected, but then that guarantee nobody can give at the time of application. But if you have a good idea and if you have come to a certain point pursuing that idea, even if you don't have the model, do apply. It's also about starting this entire initiative in the field of science communication. So please, we are waiting for you. Bhavya says, if suppose I am not able to finish my presentation in 2.5 minutes, then it's rejection. 2.5 minutes, your presentation has to be over, and trust me, it's possible. I know you will not believe me unless you see these young, smart people making their presentations. Go copy this link or just go to the Falling Walls website, and then you'll be able to locate where these videos are posted, and you'll be able to do that. Yeah, so do not feel that 2.5 minutes cannot do justice. They do justice. Yeah. I'm working as JRF. Can I participate? You can, provided you have your research that you can present. JRF is fine as well. And someone, yeah, that's right. And if you have any other questions, you're always welcome to write to my colleague Ramneet Mehta so that you get answers to your questions. I'm only wondering what reason is there that all of you young people are so unwilling to use your microphones. This can be a very nice opportunity for you indeed to talk and to leave behind all your inhibitions when it comes to talking to strangers, because the competition, you'll be on the stage and there will be people watching you. So do feel free, make the best of whatever opportunities you get. How many participants took place? Suraj Sudhakar, we had 14 contestants last year, if that is what you mean. Yeah. Then we get a question again. What will be of higher priority, my idea or how much I have persuaded it so far? It's a combination of both. Yeah, because what we surely do not really want is a simple science fiction. Yeah. So it has to be realistic, or in the sense it has to be doable. So it's important that, because there will be questions about that also. As I was telling one of your mates who's been attending this webinar, that it's not about whether you have the full model in place or not, or full factory setup or not, but then you have an idea and then that's good enough. The second winner that we had last year, his factory, the end of vehicle life thing that he's doing, it's not yet a full-fledged moving thing that's earning him crores. No, but then he has started with it and it's going on pretty well. That is the status, that is the stage. Well, I think we have taken care of all the questions that you had, and it's also approaching time. So unless you have any more questions, which I would request you to shoot at me, either per audio or by simply typing, or I will put a stop to this webinar here. In case you have any further questions, the email ID is always there, and a similar webinar will also take place on the 30th of January. So if you have any of your friends, competitors, enemies that you feel are getting interested in the Falling Walls Lab India, kindly tell them that they can always attend yet another webinar on the 30th, and we are there to take care of the questions that they may have. I had a wonderful time interacting with you. This was Aditi Gosavi, Senior Advisor with the DAAD. Thank you very much again, and all the best wherever you decide that you want to go or head to. Goodbye and good evening.